That design in the opening is illegal, by the way, and welcome to Armored Core. So, Armored Core was the fourth game by FromSoft after they did the first three Kingsfield games. We only got two of them. No, wait, that's not the right name. Let's try again. And I think it was their first real breakout game because Kingsfield games, while intriguing in a way, didn't quite have the smoothness of Armored Core's gameplay or its appeal. And by the way, they just throw you right in. You have to do the combat test without any tutorial or anything.
System engaged.
So you'd better learn the controls. And this is an Armored Core game, so learning the controls, it ain't easy. Especially because this is a third-person, high-stakes, high-speed action game that has no benefit of analog sticks. So, you've got your boost meter, you've got your weapon lockbox, and you've really got your own wits to help you get through this. The AC they start you with has all of the basic weapons you'll find in the game. Missile weapons, just regular shooting weapons, and a blade. So this is your chance to familiarize yourself with what the controls offer and how to handle them. Starting rifle ain't great, we're gonna replace that as soon as possible.
The test is over. From this moment on, you are a Raven.
The thing is, the first Raven test is not the easiest thing because of how your opponents are somewhat more mobile than quite a few of the starting enemies in this game. But let's take a look at where we stand in the standings of Ravens. We're not even in the top 10, we are a complete noob. And you can look at the other top-ranking Ravens. We might even encounter a few of them on the job. Let's see. Love the menu music, by the way. Which is neat because we're going to be in menus a lot in this game because of the incredible emphasis this game places on its customization system. Oh, and it's our welcome email. Let's see, provide AC repair services, supply ammo, sell new parts, etc. Basically, Raven's Nest is a mission broker and doesn't really do much to interfere besides that. They won't help you if you have problems with your employers. And, you know, Raven's Nest isn't a helicopter, Papa, so sink or swim. The thing about being a Raven... Oh, we have no money. Is that we kinda do the dirty jobs in a metropolis controlled by megacorporations. You know, underground metropolis too, because big war, apocalypse, everyone has to move underground. And being a corporate mercenary means we have to do some pretty unsavory things to pay the bills from time to time. I mean, let's take a look at our first two missions. Who do we want to fight first? Striking workers or protesters? We're going to take on the strikers first. Let's see, want better working conditions, taking over a bridge under construction. Oh, they've just stopped traffic. The guards are basically, the corporate military police. Man, they don't understand that time is money in this, dystopian business, world. Okay, armed worker MTs. Yeah, MTs are the most common kind of mecha in the world of Armored Core. ACs are something special. Even our base, stock, unmodified, super basic AC is still more than a match
System
for
engaged.
quite a few types of MTs. Yep. Missiles require a lot, but they are, you know, homing, do decent damage, but they can be shot down by enemies that have anti-missile systems, but those are mainly limited to other armored cores. The reason I did this mission first was to grab this. This is the first hidden part we'll find in the game, and I'm not really going to use it, but I want to sell it for money so we can start doing some real customization to our armored core, get better weapons and other important good parts. Because there are some parts that we want to replace as soon as possible. The thing about the worker MTs in this mission is that they're not very mobile, they're not very tough, but their weapons can do a bit of damage to us. They're equipped with rockets and cannons and stuff. And the thing about, you know, we start with 8,000 hit points, but there are a lot of times where that's going to disappear a lot faster than you think it will. So even in these early stages, you have to fight smart. I mean, this is a FromSoft game. And while I'm bunny hopping to deal with these MTs, one of the things that hit me when I started playing this game again, I did used to play it on the original hardware pretty close to when it came out, is that the mercenary world of Armored Core is somewhat less sanitized than the mercenary fiction of other mecha series, and I'm thinking specifically BattleTech here. But I'll have more to say about this later. I'm just going to be talking about the more basic stuff about Armored Core. But the basics of the Armored Core setting is that it's usually a corporate-dominated world that uses Ravens to do a lot of the dirty work and proxy warfare or direct attacks on other corporations. They can be hired by other groups, so occasionally it can be a little Shadowrun. But Ravens, I won't say the Ravens are like Pinkertons because Ravens are more ruthless, professional, and competent. But the world of Armored Core is not really a world that has many heroes in it. However, like a lot of FromSoft games, this isn't really portrayed as an ideal state of affairs. So we're going to sell off this large rocket launcher. It's very powerful, but it's not something we can really use right now. Rockets are very powerful for their weight, but they don't have a lockbox like other weapons, so you have to manually aim every shot. Okay, this gives us a pretty good chunk of cash. And we're going to sell our weak starting rifle too. It's probably the worst starting rifle of any Armored Core generation. Okay, so here are the parts we can buy. Heads can provide various functions like radar, biosensors, map data, yeah, an auto map function. Cores provide a lot of your defenses and armor points, and they also provide an anti-missile system for, shooting down enemy missiles. Arms provide defense, and, they allow you to use handheld weapons. And some arms are very heavily armored, but prevent you from using certain back weapons. And there are just some plain weapon arms that have zero defense, but very powerful weapons. Legs really define the shape of your build, because they're the ones that determine most the kinds of heavy loads and even weapon types you can use effectively. In this generation, there are 4 types that we'll be going into later: bipeds, reverse legs, quads, and treads. We're going to be seeing each and every one of these in action. Generator determines your maximum power, your maximum energy of your boost bar, how much power they put out. And the thing is, every one of the parts you equip to your armored core has an energy drain. And the energy drain versus your power output determines how fast your boost bar recharges. Arm weapons are guns. The ones in your right hand are guns, and your left arm is what uses blades. There are no left arm guns in this generation of Armored Core. So the essentials we bought are... Let's see, the essentials we bought are a better generator, because our first starting generator is garbage, a machine gun to replace our starting rifle, and the next thing we're going to get is better boosters, more efficient boosters, so we get better evasion performance. And higher mobility. The customization of the Armored Core games is a step above the kind of customization you'll find in other mech games, and you don't really find this kind of detailed customization outside of certain kinds of racing games normally. It's really part of the core appeal of the game that you can just go into this really detailed system and squeeze the most performance you can out of whatever kind of machine you want to build. So after all that, we're going to save and take on another mission. Yeah, I had to check on a few things here. One of the things about Armored Core is that when it first came out, there were some reviewers in 1997 that said that this was the best mech game you could buy at the time. Oh yeah, also one of the things about the controls of this game is that you can freely rebind all of the buttons. So yeah, they said that this was the best mech game that was available in 1997, and I know that Matt would probably incinerate me for saying this, but I could kind of agree with that. Anyway, another thing you can do is freely edit the color scheme of your Armored Core. So let's start moving forward. Oh, they're protesting gentrification. Yeah, rioters. Okay, so here's the problem. The police can't do anything to them because they're citizens, but, ravens have a bit more wiggle room. Okay, so there are, like, actual, medium MTs mixed in with the, worker MTs here, but that's not really a problem for us.
System engaged.
Because even a starting Raven in, like, the most stock AC is more than a match for a, full squad of, MTs. Now, one of the things that about Armored Core Generation 1 is that once you manage to learn the controls, you're fine. But learning the controls is probably one of the most complicated parts of any Armored Core game. Because the controls of an Armored Core game have a lot of little nuances you need to deal with. Things like hard landings, like if you're falling too fast when you land, you actually have to take a moment to recover from them. So while you're boosting around, you have to mind your drop speed when you touch ground. Yeah, machine guns are actually just a good general-purpose choice. If you don't have any specific knowledge of the kinds of things you'll be dealing with, because while they don't have a long range, they have a decently sized lockbox, so you can hit most things with them. And they do okay enough damage to deal with most things. And yeah, we do have to pay for our own ammo. It's priced per bullet or missile or whatever kind of ammo. There are energy weapons that don't have an ammo cost, but they have other difficulties involved with them. Because firing energy weapons actually takes charge away from your boost bar. So it's much harder to attack with energy weapons and also keep a lot of your mobility. It's a much harder balance. So the next part we're going to stick onto our machine are better legs, so that we have a slightly higher weight allowance to work with. These are only slightly slower, and they also have a higher stability, which is kind of like poise for Armored Core. Because there are certain weapons that can actually, like, stun you, and stun doesn't really prevent you so much from shooting back as it does from moving effectively. Yeah, the game considers the head, arms, legs, core, and boosters to be necessary parts, as in, you can't launch an Armored Core if it doesn't have those parts. Oh yeah, our other back thing is a radar, because you can have radar either in your head or as a back attachment.
Test mode engaged.
And another thing you can do is actually go back and run a test on your new gear. You can just go back and do the old AC test and see how, and get the feel for a new machine once you've built it. Just completely free of charge. You don't get any money, but it doesn't cost you anything either. Now, the machine gun I chose to use is something you can actually just do a lot of the game's missions with. But as we go through, I'm going to be showing off a somewhat larger variety of builds. We don't quite have the credits to make really big modifications to our AC yet, but we'll be getting those relatively soon.
Test mode terminated.
By the way, the size of your lockbox in this game is dependent on two things. First, the actual weapons targeting, and also the fire control system that you've equipped to your armored core. Generally, the narrower the lockbox, the further away you can lock onto targets. Nope, there are terrorists. The issue of terrorism in the Armored Core setting is somewhat complicated. Because in some ways, they're the only other semi-organized opposition to total corporate control. But on the other hand, some of them are actually supplied and funded by corporations to attack other
System
corporations
engaged.
under the guise of some kind of plausible deniability.
This is the guard. We've cornered the enemy as expected. We'll leave the rest up to you.
You know, the thing about the Ravens is that, just generally, at least from Armored Core 1 through 3, is they're not really accountable to anything other than maybe Raven's Nest. And there's a reason that this situation is allowed to persist in Armored Core Generation 1, but that isn't really revealed until you finish both the original Armored Core 1 and Master of Arena.
Target achieved.
And the reason I didn't say much about that mission is that there wasn't really much to say about it. Yeah, I'm going to be dropping a lot of saves because one of the things it's possible to do in this mission in this game is fail forward, as in, you'll fail the mission, but the mission will just be done and you'll cycle forward. The mission will count as finished whether you completed it or not. Oh, well, yeah, chemical weapons, that's a bit more of a sticky situation. Yeah, we're going to have to pay out the Hair Guild. Basically, in exchange for this freedom, Ravens have to pay for basically everything that happens on their mission. Any damages they take, every shot they fire, and every
System
bit of
engaged.
corporate property they blow up.
The truck's load is poison gas.
Or allowed to
Avoid
get
hitting
blown
gas
up.
canisters if you find them.
So, avoid shooting the toxic truck. Yeah, gas attacks in a tunnel, well, yeah. So the enemies in this mission are kind of a higher class of MT that you don't want to get close to too much because their spread guns can actually do decent damage to you at close range. they're actually a higher class of MT, and the manual says that armored cores are descended from something called the Cord MT. And I believe these might be examples of that. It's important to be really cautious here because the enemy AI has them set to stay close to the transport truck and defend it from there, so it's really easy if you're not careful to accidentally blow up the
Enemy
truck.
approaching. Danger. Danger.
I know I did that
Danger.
at least 3 times when I first did this mission. Anyway, I'm gonna call Armored Core probably one of the best mech game series, because I have some long-standing issues with MechWarrior that I'm going to talk about later. Because this is really just the introductory video, and you're not here to hear me complain about another game at least this early. Okay, that's another one down.
Target
And
achieved.
that's all of them. So, that's really all of the missions I'm going to do this time. Yeah, I'm gonna want to replace that head. Yeah, this is the one I use basic for most of the time. Yeah, it has an integrated radar, so it gives me some flexibility. But I'm also going to need a map head later because there are some rather mazy levels in this game. Okay, so here's what I want from the rest of you, anyone who's watching this video. Now that I've got my head installed. Yeah, I'm going to want to replace my arms soon. In fact, I can do that right now. Actually, you know what? The basic arms are okay. We can keep them for now. Okay, so here's what I want from you. I don't want to be wearing Zaku colors for this playthrough. So I want all of you to, like, submit one color. Anyone who wants to, just submit one color. And after I see that, I'm going to randomly pick a few out of all of the colors that were submitted, and I'll be using those colors for my AC. See you then!